Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, May 5th, and a beautiful day here on Ravenview Farm. If all goes well, today we're going to start planting corn. I haven't had a lot of videos. By the time you guys see this, I've been trying to get into the swing of making more videos, so maybe by the time this video comes out, I'll have gotten one up about maple syrup season and another one that kind of showcased us planting oats, but that will have been just a shorter one. There's been a lot going on in our life. I don't want to belabor the point too much, but this whole past winter, we just had a lot going on. And the most important thing, probably, of all those things we had going on was that my wife and I welcomed a little baby boy into the world on April 22nd. So our son was born, and we had a lot to do to get ready for him. He was in the making for a long time. I mean, besides just your normal 9 months of of actual, bake time. He was the culmination of about a 4 or 5 year process of trying to have another baby, and we're just really overjoyed, a little sleepless. So if I amble a bit, it's probably because my brain is a little low on sleep these days, but that's okay. We can fight through that, no problem. So that will explain kind of why I've been absent from YouTube. Life's just been like that, but we're trying to get in the swing of things again. The other thing was I had an old computer that I was doing all my editing on, and it just couldn't keep up anymore. I built it myself back in 2009. I'm amazed it made it this far. But just this couple of months ago, I bought a brand new laptop, got a good editing software on it now. I'm still learning how to use it, so that would explain a little bit of the delay here getting these videos edited and out. I'm going to be a little behind probably by the time you see all this, but that's all right. You guys can catch up with us. I'll try to keep filming as we go through spring and early summer here. And at least we'll have the backlog of footage. I think you get the picture. It's been a little crazy. But the nice thing is, today, we are focused on one thing, and that's going to be getting the corn crop going in the ground. We've got a beautiful series of days here. The entire week looks like the weather is going to be perfect. So, barring any kind of mechanical breakdown, we should be able to get both our corn and our soybeans in, as long as everything lines up the way we want it to. It's kind of amazing, actually. Having this baby means that I didn't have my fertilizer and spray and everything lined up. Even my seed I didn't have delivered until just a couple of days ago. So I spent last week just getting everything coordinated. I met with my agronomist at the co-op. I got an order in through FBN for some of our chemicals. We got some chemicals through FBN and some through our local co-op. All our fertilizer came from our local co-op. And our seed corn this year, I at least had the foresight to order that in advance. That is all going to be non-GMO corn this year. We had great success selling the non-GMO corn in bags. I did half my crop non-GMO last year and half regular GMO, and that was just because that was what we were used to. We learned that we can succeed without traded corn, so that saved us a bunch of money on our seed corn. Although at the end of the day, I think my cost per acre for the crop is going to be about the same. But the trade-off is we'll have a much better herbicide plan in place, and we'll have a decent quantity of fertilizer going on with this crop too. So it's all going to balance out really well. So the nice thing is that all coordinated well. I got it all together in time. It helps that we're only doing 21 acres of corn, so it wasn't too big of a challenge to get everybody on board with getting everything to us when we needed it. And hopefully we'll be all set here. Now, it's been a few years since I did a corn planting video, and some things have changed, and I think it's probably a good time to update you guys. This is my 7th year doing no-till and cover crops, and every year we've done some modifications to the planter. This will be the first year we didn't have to add anything, because it's set up kind of the way I want, so now it's just replacing parts and stuff as we go. But it's kind of an interesting setup. So we got our dry fertilizer boxes. We're going to be doing a split application this year, so we're putting about half our fertilizer on up front, all our P and K, and about half our nitrogen. And this tank here, you'd think that would be for liquid fertilizer, but that's for compost extract, which is something we've been doing on the farm for the last few years. We've seen some good success with it, and we're enjoying experimenting with that. So that's all set up with an electric pump here. I've got a controller on the tractor right there. We're going to be putting that on at 10 gallons per acre in furrow with the corn seed. Planter otherwise doesn't have too much modified on it. We had to put a new hitch on it last year because we realized our old hitch was bent, and that was causing us to plant with some weird row spacing. I do have notched coulters on the marker arms to help give me a good mark in the field since we're no-tilling. I've got a single spiked closing wheel on our closing wheel assemblies, and the easy adjust T-handle closing wheel assemblies on here, which our old closing wheel assemblies were worn out, so if we were going to replace them, we just upgraded. I've got the gauge wheel repair kit installed on these row units. Our old gauge wheels were pretty worn out. They flopped around a lot and let mud get in between them and the seed disc openers, so we did the gauge wheel repair fix on there. That helped a bunch. And I think that's really about it. Oh, and we do have heavy-duty down pressure springs. You can see them right there on the row units. I picked those up used a couple of years ago. But aside from that, it's pretty much a standard John Deere 7000, and we haven't had much trouble at all getting it in the ground. Our ground is really mellow right now. I just walked the fields last night. I don't predict that we're going to have any trouble getting the seed in the ground. I think this is pretty optimal conditions, and we should be able to do a good job today. So first things first, our fertilizer was delivered this morning. So we got our dry fertilizer in the wagon there. And then I filled this up just a little bit ago. We got a nice big tote here, about 225 gallons of water. This is where we're going to brew our compost extract. And I've got a couple of mesh bags here. These are our tea bags. So we'll fill those up with compost. I do about 15 pounds or so of compost for this 225 gallons. That gives us the ratio we want. I judge that ratio by looking at fungal spores. We make our compost in a way that it has a lot of fungal spores in it and a lot of active fungi, and that's really what we're trying to put back in the field along with all the other good stuff, but fungi is kind of our focus. And we're gonna get this going here and get it ready, and then we can start loading the planter and doing all our other stuff. And then for our compost extract, I've got some compost going here. This pile and this pile I made last fall, so they're still breaking down. But this pile over here was all made last summer, so this is really rich. Get in close here. If we dig in a little bit, there we go. You can see that's nice, rich composted material. So that'll make us a really nice compost extract. So anyway, I apologize. That's a lot of dialogue without a whole lot of doing anything yet. I just wanted to give you guys the overall picture of kind of what we're doing with the planter putting in the corn seed, the fertilizer, and the compost extract all at the same time. And at the same time, I didn't want to get too clinical and get into all the ins and outs of the biology. We can talk about that in a different video. So from here on out, I'm just going to work, get things ready, and I'm going to try to set you up to see what I'm doing. There we go. These bags are neat because you just roll down the top and clip them, kind of like a waterproof camping bag, except these aren't waterproof. Water goes right through them. Now you got your tea bag. And we just steep that. It doesn't take very long at all. Let me grab you and bring you over. You can see the water starting to get murky. And by the time we steep all of this, see that coming out of there? We want all that fine silt. A lot of that's going to settle out, but the main thing is it's getting the microbes in suspension in the water. Whether that's good bacteria, good beneficial chunks of fungi, good protozoa. There's pretty good protozoa in this compost. I haven't looked at it under a microscope for a while, but the recipe I've been using doesn't change too much, so once we get good results, we kind of stick with what we know, and we don't have to always be testing. So protozoa, you know, good beneficial nematodes, not the root feeding kind, but the predatory kind that you want. Bacterial feeding nematodes are good to have in the soil. And that's what we're putting in this solution right now, if we're doing it right. Okay, I went ahead and finished brewing up this batch of extract. Doesn't look like much, just kind of looks like muddy pond water. But you can maybe see all the little silt particles. It's kind of hard to scoop up a handful. So what we want is all those little particles suspended in there. And then on the liquid delivery system on the planter up there, that will pass through the orifice plates in the nozzles that we have. This gets filtered. I mean, it gets filtered through the mesh bags. Then we also filter it when we're loading it onto the planter. I've got an inline filter that goes into the hose. We just gravity feed this to load it into the planter. And then there's a filter on the planter too. So we strain out as much of any solid particles in there as we can, except for the really small ones that can go through, fit through a 50 mesh filter. And then those will pass through the orifice plates, and then we don't plug up our planter while we're planting, and we're not stopping all the time to clean out plugged nozzles. And that works pretty well. Okay, that is ready. I forgot to mention earlier, but it's worth mentioning, that all of our non-GMO seed here is bred and produced by Clover Farms, which is a local corn breeder. They're located just outside of Northfield, I believe, Northfield, Minnesota. So what's neat about that is all the seed is sourced locally. It's grown here on our farm, and then because we're selling 50-pound bags of wildlife corn, most of it is sold right here locally. We do ship some out if we can't sell it all in bags. But it's pretty cool because the whole system is a little local economy. And you guys that have been following me know that if there's one thing I like, it's local economies. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. All right, last step. Seed and fertilizer are on board. And now we're just running in the compost extract. All right, that's one field done. Just a hair under 7 acres, which isn't bad considering I got a late start. We're not trying to set the world on fire anyway, we're just trying to do a good job. And fertilizer's empty here, and it's time to go in for supper anyway. Supper's gonna be in about 10 minutes. So hey, knock on wood, things are going okay so far. All right folks, it's after supper. We're on to the next field here. We got the planter all loaded up, got the headlands in. This is just a 6-acre field. It's a little wet, you can kind of see, a little clumpy here down by the meadow. So I wanted to make a round here without using the camera and just make sure we didn't get into too much trouble. And we didn't. The planter got a little muddy, but nothing plugged up, so we're rolling. That's always good. Nothing I hate more than cleaning mud out of the planter. I'm not gonna do too much more here, but it's a nice time of day, so I'm going to try to set the camera up for a couple more shots. We'll probably go until this load of fertilizer and compost extract runs out, and then that'll be it for the day, and we should be able to finish tomorrow. So let's wrap it up, I suppose. All right, friends, well, I realized I didn't close out that video. I took that last little shot in the field and then planted a couple more rounds till it got dark and wrapped it up. Just parked everything. It's supposed to be a nice night, so we didn't really need to get anything under cover. And should be able to finish up tomorrow. So I am going home to my family. Gonna try to relax. Hopefully little baby Rowan doesn't cry all night. We'll see. I may cop out here. Dana will love this, but I might sleep in the nursery because he's in our room. And then I can get up early in the morning and come and finish planting corn and actually be able to function like a human being. Sorry, hun, I love you. but I might abandon you for one night. And of course, then if we finish up planting tomorrow, that'll be a big relief, and it won't be quite so critical to get a good night's sleep, and I can rejoin the fray. But yeah, that's it for today. So we'll pick it up again tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It is the next day. We're back. I actually managed to get a good night's sleep last night, so I'm feeling pretty good. It's about 10 a.m. here. I had to do a few things at home, helping Dana out before I got out here, and then confer with Dad a little bit this morning. Of course, get a cup of coffee in the kitchen. So we are about to get started here. Yesterday I mentioned that our seed corn is all non-GMO from the local supplier, Kluber Farms, this year. What I didn't mention was what duration corn we're planting. We are planting two varieties. One is a 107-day corn, which is what I was planting yesterday and what I'll be finishing up here this morning. And then our other variety is a 96-day, which is a little bit shorter here. With the 107, we're hoping for a higher yield, and with the 96, we're hoping for a little bit better dry down in the fall. Alrighty, started on my last field. Had to do the headlands and get things going, so I didn't want to have the camera out while I was kind of focusing, going around the edge of the field. Just too many things to watch when you're trying to film too. But I had to come back, reload here. Got one fertilizer box full, another one to do yet. Fertilizer, it looks to me like we're running about right here. This wagon was pretty full. There was a big mound in the center when we started. I gotta fill that box, and then I'm gonna have to fill up 2 or 3 more times, and I think it looks about right. Okay, we're topped off with everything. Got all our goodies on board. It's kind of a lot when you think about it. 3 different products going on all at once. But it's working, so I guess that's all that matters. Alright guys, well, I'm nearing the end here. I haven't taken as much footage in this field, but you know, at this point you kind of get the idea. It's just back and forth running the corn planter. As long as nothing breaks, it doesn't get too exciting. and I'd prefer if it didn't get too exciting. So I've probably got about 2 acres left to go. It's about 10 to 6, so supper time will be in about 10 minutes. And I've probably got 20 minutes till I run out of fertilizer, so I'm gonna be a little late for supper. Let me quick show you this field. The rye looks really nice in this field that we're planting green into here. There's also some alfalfa smattered in. But this was our failure last year where we tried to establish this as a hay field, and it just never took. Replanted it 3 different times, and for various reasons it never worked out. So we ended up spraying it down. I put compost extract on it last fall and seeded it to rye. And now, of course, there's like alfalfa scattered around. But we slated it for corn this year just to try to get it back into production as quick as possible without, you know, extending our foolishness. I shouldn't be too hard on myself. I have a previous video from last summer that talks about that a little bit, and it wasn't just our foolishness. It was weather and some bad judgment on our part, but just only because we didn't know how to deal with the allelopathic effect of the rye that we had out here, and learning not to plant alfalfa after rye unless you really feel like gambling. Stuff like that. So anyway, I'm happy that it's going into corn, and then this will all get burned down, this cover crop. This is going to get glyphosate and verdict probably tomorrow, and that'll burn down the cover crop here, and it'll put our pre-emerge down for weed control for the corn crop. But anyway, that's enough yapping out of me. I got to get back in the seat and get going here. I'd like to finish. I'll probably have to do a little bit after supper, but I should be able to wrap up here today, no problem. Folks, I am done. That is it for 2025 corn planting. And I've got to show you, look at this. That is all the fertilizer that I have left. It's even a little less on the other side. You can almost see the auger. There it is, right there. And then for seed, I mean, that's pretty good. So I don't know if we can chalk that up to good planning or just stupid luck. Maybe, probably, just a little bit of both. And of course we can't quite be done yet because we got 33 bags of soybeans here that Dad went and picked up today, which is our next thing. But we use the no-till drill from our local soil and water office to plant these, so I put in my request for it today. Probably be a few days before we get it. Can you guys see that haze out over the field? There we go. That shows it pretty well. The neighbor's doing tillage right over there, which means he's gifting me a whole bunch of his topsoil. Yes. All right, so I'm too nice to do the evil laugh with any real intention here. Like, he's a really good guy, and he's doing what he thinks is right for his operation. And I'm doing what I think is right for my operation. So that's something I always try to emphasize with the regenerative agriculture and no-till practices and stuff. Like, there's no point in shaming anybody over anything, you know. There's a whole Facebook group called Tillage Kings that's, you know, dedicated to just ripping everything up all the time, and it's not my philosophy, but I'm not going to say that those guys are wrong in what they do. There's methods that have worked for, you know, centuries, and they're viable in the right situation. So, you know, everybody knows their own farm and they know what they got to do. But it's okay to have a little fun too. And I think fun is a good note to end this video on. So I hope it's been fun for you guys to come along, join me for corn planting here, spring 2025, kicking things off. Well, I don't know. I mean, I planted oats already and stuff, but there's something about planting corn that makes it feel like it's springtime now. Anyway, I'm glad that you guys came along. I hope that it was a good video for you and that I found a nice blend between talking and showing you what I'm doing. So I'll end by saying thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time around.